Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Zakar. We're gonna kick this one off with a banger. We're starting off with the final fight of the Lightning Hood's home territory, their final resource zone. We're about to wipe them out. Now, full disclosure, this is the second time we're taking the fight. The first time I brought 5 storm clouds along for the ride, and we had pretty low ammo reserves. All the storm clouds got shot down almost immediately, just because the target prioritization of the defenses all focuses fast things with big infrared signatures. So after losing all 5 of those, our Spartans then ran out of ammo, and I decided that that would be a boring way to kill this. So we reloaded the save, melted all those planes down into extra ammo, brought in another set of Spartans, and here we go. Taking a look around the Lightning Hood space, they got a really cool cathedral, temple, I don't know, something going on over there on the left, as well as 2 skyscrapers, a couple of turrets, and this really large base guardian type vehicle with a lot of short-range laser combiners on it. Now, just to show off the Spartans were meant to be really tough. So their entire front is a layer of heavy armor, and then they also have smoke dispensers, and then they also have a strength 10 shield covering the front of the vehicle. So I discovered a defensive trick that I used in the Spartan, and that trick is that shields buff all the smokes that lasers are going through by the strength of the shield that the calculation includes. So if you have 4 or 5 smokes, and 1 strength 10 shield, that strength 10 shield is buffing all 4 of the smokes without actually draining any of the power available from the shield. It's kind of dumb, but it means that if you use some smokes and some shields, you can make yourself quite literally immune to lasers. Now, it doesn't help that this thing is using short-range laser combiners, and while it is technically possible to make a laser to pierce through this, it is highly impractical. Short-range laser combiners, they also sacrifice AP for raw damage potential, which is not actually ideal against heavy armor. As you can see, this thing is doing very little to the Spartans focusing on. Unfortunately, all the missiles on the Spartans are radar guided, so they are kind of just focusing down these towers in the background and large structures over everything else. And the Spartan, I've been very proud of the Spartan. It does a very good job of holding the line, and the thing is just kind of built different. This fight, because of our radar-guided missiles can only really target the largest radar signature of the enemy, that means that they're going to naturally focus on that tower until it is down. So this fight ends up going on for quite a long time. See, they're not actually ideal at just piecing apart massive structures. They're more oriented towards, blowing a small hole and then filling it with fragments, which is highly effective against all sorts of vehicles, especially most of the Lightning Hood's craft. But as you see, some of the missiles are just turning around and flying almost completely backwards. Now, we do have some pretty decent repair capability on these Spartans, and as the fight wears on, we start running out of ammo. Before the day comes to a close and becomes night, we end up having to scrap 2 of our Spartans just to refill the other 6 with ammo. With that being said, that tower's getting pretty low on HP. Pretty soon our missiles will be able to target this hovercraft over here. This hovercraft over here has lost enough engine power that it no longer flies or floats. It's now just kind of sliding back and forth on the ground, and it won't be too long before it goes down. Cool Tokyo drift coming in there from one of the Spartans. And it is down, the primary defensive unit. So we got this cool science lab over here getting blown to bits, and I'll go ahead and cut through the highlights. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and with that, the Lightning Hoods have been taken out. We have one less faction on the campaign map, And I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of in-game science. So I'm going to start deactivating these resource zones. I'm going to get rid of all 3 of the Lightning Hood's main zones, as well as all of the White Flayers, because I want to see if doing that will send the Steel Empire and the Twin Guard into overdrive. We currently have, I think, over 4 million materials just between our standing forces and our resource storage, so we don't need it. We shouldn't need it to finish out the campaign anyway, and I really want to see if it'll make them, like, overproduce units. So without spending too much time on the campaign map, let's see if we can turn this episode into a bit of a double whammy and knock the White Flayers out as well. I'm thinking I want to try to ram them to death with the Todd Howards. I feel like that would be a fitting end. And here we are with the next fight against the White Flayers. So this is a resource zone with a couple of turrets and I believe a beholder. We've gone ahead and made a whole bunch of the viewer submitted aircraft. So we have 12 VA-1 Spades and 4 Night Witch Mark IIs. And we're just going to launch a full-on air raid on this compound. I did take a look at the terrain before assaulting this, and I don't trust the Todd Howards to handle it. It's on a bit of a hill, so, you know, going at like 100 meters a second at ground level is not the most stable thing. So I figure I'll use the aircraft here because they're destined to do well. And we start things off with an opening salvo on the White Flayers Beholder. Looks like the Night Witches haven't had a chance to load their guns. I probably should have had them spawn in after making them, just so that they had the chance to load their guns. But that's alright. They'll load pretty quick. They are definitely flying... Oh, yeah, they're flying very low. I am a little concerned with how low they're flying, that this hill, if they come from a different angle, that hill might definitely get lower. So we'll have to be a little... Oh, Jesus. I'm barely even watching things hit the Beholder. I'm just watching these Night Witches do their bank turn at like 5 meters off the ground. Anyway, this Beholder is getting torn to shreds by all the missiles. Turns out 24 attack planes firing missiles at this is more than enough. Night Witches, of course, they have their burst fire railguns, and those are also very strong. Admittedly, I was just watching them fly, because they are very close to the ground. So, you know. Yeah. Yeah, no, oh man. Oh, this is making me nervous. It's making me super nervous. One of them is going to crash into the ground at least. Yep. Okay, there it is. It looks like it bottomed out and then the gun exploded. Go ahead and let me withdraw it. Up. Another one? Oh no! Oh no! Okay, 3 out of the 4. Let's just hope that the 4th one doesn't crash. It looks like our planes may have run into each other. Oh god. Oh, but these things look so majestic when they're alone, but for some reason you group them up and they just start derping out trying to avoid each other, and they just look like skyfish. Instead of like a majestic bird, they just start looking like skyfish. They definitely have the firepower though. Alright, so this hill managed to kill, not the enemy vehicles. I want to be very clear about this. The hill managed to kill the majority of our aircraft. That we actually lost. Some of the Spades ran into each other. We lost at least one of them to that. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and call that victorious. Alright, so we're closing in on the home base of the White Flayers. Now, I had a group of 12 Skeeters that were accompanying the group of trikes that I originally pushed in the south. I ended up dissolving those trikes, turning them into Todd Howards. But I kept the Skeeters around, and then they got obliterated. All 12 of them got obliterated by this benediction over here, because they can't actually fly high enough to get over the mountains, so they couldn't get line of sight, and this thing was just cheesing them with missiles. And it took a very long time for it to actually shoot all of them down, and for most of that fight, I was hiking solo across the mountains trying to get within minigun range, but we ended up losing all of them. So that's why I didn't see that fight. Oh god. Oh, let's go ahead and take connection rules off for all of these. Hang on. Alright, there we go. Connection rules off. And they fired their opening salvo. I'm a little concerned that because they're in a line, they might shoot each other. But other than that, I think, yeah. Seems good. Now, the missiles that this Benediction fires are actually really good at tracking. Oh my god, it didn't one-shot it. I'm pretty impressed. It might still die to hitting the ground too hard. No? No, it's still intact down there. Looks like we just need a second salvo, maybe? Yeah. There we go, second salvo. These VA1 spades, I think they work really well in groups of 5 or maybe 6. Above that, it starts getting pretty crowded in the skies, but they're pretty good for little assassination missions like this. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on the base. I think I've got 3 separate groups of Todd Howards, as well as a small
all-terrain reporting
that we're going to bring along with us. And we've got more forces up north if we need them.
Yes.
But I'm wondering if this will do the trick.
On my way. Yes.
Alright, so the total count is 4 VA1 spades and 9 Todd Howard Mark IIIs. It's gonna be a little bit of an interesting fight because the Todd Howards generally don't do well in a swarm. They're all on the ground, and they don't control very well. They usually do more friendly fire than enemy fire, so we might lose this horribly. I'm just gonna see if I can get them to split up and target the right units. And then, oh, we're already in degraded mode, and apparently they're low on ammo. Are we gonna hit the main target? We are actually connecting with the main target onto the, well, one-ish, almost one of the Todd Howards. More so connecting with ourselves there, shooting a wheel off. And of course, the only one to land proper good hits is now in the melee particle cannon of whatever this thing is. This would be a really good hit if it was anywhere other than there. This one's at a pretty good angle. If that one can stay attached, then when it reloads, it'll do pretty well. Those two are shooting each other. Very good, very good.
Targeting.
Okay, we'll go ahead and have everything switch targets to this. Looks like those... Ooh. Good hit. Good hit on that turret. I don't actually think these static defenses of the White Flayers are going to pose too much of a problem. They don't seem to have very much firepower. I think it's just going to be this one big fortress over here. I think this is going to turn into a little bit of, I'd say, like a piranha feeding frenzy. Although, they kind of missed most of their shots. So it's more like, what's something that doesn't have teeth? More like a feeding frenzy of things that don't eat very quickly. Like a rabbit feeding frenzy. Yeah, there we go. Rabbit feeding frenzy. I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up. Let's see what happens.
Yes, have control. Yes, turning off. Yes, have control.
So it's at about this point in the fight where I decide I'm going to go ahead and pilot one of the Todd Howards. I teleported myself to an injured one earlier on, took manual control, and oh my god, we're lifting it off the ground. And we shot its AI out and captured. Wonderful. So those are my fleet colors. The green is temporary. I don't know what I want to change the green to, so I set it to green because it stands out and it's like horrendously ugly with the rest of it. So I set it to green so I would change it later. But yeah. Turns out the Todd Howards, if you land a square hit, they're pretty good. Gonna go ahead, shove some materials down onto this thing as well as a couple of repair bots. Get this particular Todd Howard back into working order. And then we're gonna continue on. I think there's a couple of defenses left still, but there's been at least one Todd Howard over there just going ham on one of the structures. Unless he finally got destroyed. No, it looks like the Todd Howard that was over here did end up getting destroyed. So I guess now we're gonna smash the rest of their buildings. I don't see any active defenses. It's a little bit premature to call this a win. We've had a lot of aircraft crash on us today, and the Todd Howards are definitely prone to friendly fire. So even though the enemy can't fight back, we've by no means won this. But anyway, let's go smash some buildings. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as we rip and tear through the final White Flayers structure, I'd like to say thank you all very much for watching. If you have enjoyed, likes, comments, shares, so on and so forth, really helps this video do well on YouTube, and I appreciate it very much. I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode of From the Depths and Ashes of the Empire, where we'll be declaring war against the Steel Empire and the Twin Guard. For now, I've been Sakargo, and this has been fun. I'll see you next time with more From the Depths. Bye!